Greetings, LJ Hamilton here, and I wanted to address something quickly, hoping that you find this information beneficial as it relates to your dating experiences. I've been seeing online a lot of social media posts and different things like that, whereas some women actually believe that if a man calls you on the telephone, that means that he's more interested in you than if a man sends you a text message or some other form of communication. And what more women need to understand is, because a lot of women already understand this, what more women need to understand is the method of communication should not be evaluated more than the reason why this man is communicating with you. Most men see communication as communication. We live in a tech-savvy society right now, so unfortunately, a lot of us, male and female, think that everyone sends text messages just as much as we do, and sometimes that is not the case. So if you require telephone conversations, then let that be known up front that you are not a person that favors text messaging over actual telephone conversations. But when you do that, understand this, that just because a man calls you on the telephone doesn't mean that he's more interested, and it doesn't mean that he's genuinely interested. A man can call you on the telephone at the right time, the respectful hour, and he can say all of the right things and make you feel good, and he can still be interested in you for only one thing. And after he gets that one thing, he can go about his merry way, or he can continue with his method of communication, hoping to get that one thing more times. Whereas a man can send you text messages because that is his only means of effective and extensive communication, and he can actually be genuinely interested in you. And if you pass on a nice guy, a genuine gentleman, just because he sends you text messages, that is not the smart thing to do. Now, if you get a text message from a guy and you get an eerie feeling, or you get uncomfortable, or you get turned off, or whatever the case may be, that may be your intuition kicking in, telling you that this is a red flag, totally unrelated to the text message, but saving you from some type of emotional disaster down the line. And the text message just initiated your actual reaction and or response. So that's something that you need to pay attention to, because the same thing can happen with a phone call. You can get a phone call from a guy and he can say all of the right things, but you still feel some type of way towards his communication, or towards what he said, or towards him. So that may be your intuition kicking in, hopefully saving you from some form of emotional trauma or disaster. Just because a man sends you a text message doesn't make him a bad guy. Again, that may be his only form of extensive and effective communication, but do not think that a man who calls you on the telephone is more interested or genuinely interested, because it could be the exact opposite. What you need to evaluate more than the method of communication is the reason why this man is communicating with you. And if you require telephone conversations, then let that be known. Require what you desire. Do not exchange telephone numbers and then get in your feelings, as they say, because you receive a text message. Let that be known up front that you don't prefer text messages over telephone calls. We live in a day and age where people exchange Facebook information as far as for making contact before they exchange telephone numbers. So you never really know what a person's preferred method of communication is. So don't get mad if they communicate with you in a way that they don't understand, that you don't like, if you don't let it be known that you don't like it. But again, outside of all of that, understand this, ladies, that just because a man calls you on the telephone doesn't mean that he's actually interested or genuinely interested in anything more than maybe a romp in the bedroom. Whereas a man can send you a text message, and he can text you throughout the day, throughout his work day. He may work 12 or 14 hours a day, whatever the case may be, but he can actually be wanting and desiring to communicate with you and get to know you in the best possible manner that he can at this time, which is through text messaging. So understand that and evaluate the reason for the communication, and not just the method of communicating. And you will be a lot better off. Evaluate the reason why this man is communicating with you more than the method in which he is making contact. And trust me, you'll be a lot better off. Hopefully you found this information beneficial. Hopefully it's applicable to your dating experiences. If it is, then great, and hopefully it helps you out as you interact with the opposite sex. You all be blessed.